and welcome to this week's edition of Your Wealth Matters, brought to you by the team of Your Wealth Advisors. I'm your host, Kristen Oakley, and joining me in the studio, we have the founder, Ryan Cunningham, and co-founder, Paige Cunningham. We so appreciate you watching, and each and every week we love having this time with you to talk about concerns and things that matter most, because your wealth matters. That's the whole inspiration for this show and why we do what we do. And we have a very important conversation this week we want to have. The title of this episode is When Two Become One: How to Protect Your Spouse from the Widow's Tax Trap. So we're so glad you're joining us. You're going to want to stay with us to hear everything that Ryan and Paige have to share with you on this very important subject matter. My friends, one of my favorite couples, how are you this week?
Good. Great. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Awesome.
And I know that you have been so incredibly busy, not just with all the 5 kiddos at home and the business and the TV show, but a lot of your live events where you have specifically been focusing on a lot of what we're going to be talking about today, right?
Yeah. We spend a lot of time doing live events in the community to be able to give another avenue for people to come learn and get educated on what type of plan they need, whether it's an estate plan or a tax savings plan or a retirement plan. And today's topic is a topic that unfortunately is not necessarily a fun topip for a lot of people. And we've had the unfortunate privilege of being there with some of our clients in these times that we'll talk about today.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you know, this title, typically when people think of when two become one, you think about getting married. But there is another time in life when two become one that you want to make sure that you're prepared for. And that's when one spouse passes away, because unfortunately, typically you don't pass away at the same time. And what a lot of people don't realize is there is a significant tax trap that can be even more devastating. The emotional grief is bad enough. We don't want to have them be financially devastated on top of that, which is why we wanted to have this conversation today. So, Paige, let me start with you. What exactly is this widow's tax trap, if you had to explain it in plain English for our viewers?
Yeah, so, you know, when you're married, you typically file married filing jointly, right? But when you have a spouse pass away, you have now become a single filer. And in doing that, you lose your standard deduction. Right, it goes in half. Often, if your spouse that passed away had a pension and it didn't have a survivorship option on it, now you're left with less income as well. And then when you inherit all these other accounts, you have to figure out how to, you know, strategize it to where you're able to keep even more of the money, because again, your filings have changed and your taxes are changing. So.
Yes, and it's always interesting because I think the languaging, like the standard deduction gets cut in half. That might sound like a good thing. No, it's not a good thing, because now more of the same income that you do have is going to be potentially taxed at a higher rate. And unfortunately, when couples haven't sat down and done a plan on the front end of this, then whoever's left behind, it could be the man or the woman, but typically we know that women outlive men by on average 5 to 6 years. Now you're hit with an even bigger tax problem. That's what we want to help protect and guard you from having happen to you. So why is it so important from your perspective to plan for this day long before it happens?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I think it's an unfortunate thing that life is going to happen, right? And there's no crystal ball that tells us when life is going to happen. And so you want to make sure you have a plan for the unexpected. And it's never too late. I can give you a story of a husband and wife that came into one of our live events, and they came up to me after the event and said, you know what, we really know we need something, but we've got the holidays coming up. And we'll get back with you after the new year.
Right, when things calm down.
Yeah, when things calm down. We've got kids and family coming in town. And listen, we get it. We have 5 kids. We understand that world. Unfortunately, she ended up coming back into our office that January, but she came in alone. And it was a very unfortunate event. Her husband ended up having a massive heart attack and passing away randomly on a Saturday.
How sad.
But when she came into the office, it wasn't just that she lost her husband. It's that they had no plan. She didn't know where any of the money was, or how to access any of the money, or how to get an income stream. And so having that to face on top of losing the love of her life and the father to her children and grandchildren was devastating. And so I can't stress the importance of getting with somebody. We would love that somebody to be us, but getting with somebody that's going to give you the information you need to put a plan together that is best for you, whether that's planning out your Social Security. one of the things that a lot of people don't think about is there's a strategy that can be had with Social Security. You can delay one to maximize that number and take an earlier one, because in the event, God forbid, life happens and you lose one of your one or the other, you're only going to get the higher of the two. And so if you can strategically have that plan in place, it pays big dividends.
It
does, yes.
For sure. And I know we'll talk a little bit more about some of these strategies as we go on throughout today's show. But I'm curious, what do you say to couples, and again, that story of putting it off? I think so many people can relate to that.
Yes.
And here's the reality. There's never a good time. There's never a good time to think about death. There's never a good time. The best time, though, is now
Right.
to get it done before something tragic and unexpected happens. But what do you say to couples who think that this whole estate planning conversation is, well, it's just, we have a will, so we're good.
Right.
We did our will, we did our estate planning, we're
Right.
done. That doesn't really help solve this whole tax trap issue,
Yeah.
right?
Sure.
Talk
I
about
mean,
that.
your will is a director of your assets.
Yes.
It is not a take care of my spouse document.
Yes.
Right? It is, well, she's gonna or he's gonna get everything, but how are they gonna continue to live?
Right.
How are they gonna continue to pay the bills?
Right.
Or to live the lifestyle that you've been accustomed to
Yeah.
all those years? And now you're facing higher taxes because, as we just said, you're gonna go from filing jointly to, unfortunately, then filing single. And while your income may come down, right, and most likely is going to come down, your taxes don't necessarily do the same,
Yeah.
right? So you need to have a plan to just know what it looks like. And it's, unfortunately, being the guy in the relationship here, I'm statistically going to go first, right? But what happens if, God forbid, something happens and I don't go first?
Right.
How am I going to do what all she does for the family?
Yep.
Right? I would shut down. I don't have a clue what to do, how to take care of all these kids and get them to school, and I would just shut down, much less being able to go to work or being able to live off of, one income or whatever it may be.
Just
And
continuing to function.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yep.
so it's just putting that plan together is
Right.
is such an important role. And estate planning covers more than just who gets your assets. It's
Sure.
how do you plan for your spouse?
Yes. And how
So
do you
that they
protect
can
them?
continue to live the life that you've worked so hard to build.
Right.
For sure. And protecting them long before that day.
Absolutely.
Is so key. I've
Absolutely.
heard you say, and I have seen this as well, that typically widows and widowers, but especially widows, are unfortunately one of the most underserved populations in the financial services space. This is something that you all are really passionate about
Yes.
doing and helping. So how do you specifically address that and help serve folks who are in that vulnerable place?
Yeah, it comes from a time where a lot of the spouses raise the children. Nowadays, in the past, whatnot, the husband went to work, the husband has the 401k, the wife she then inherits it, right, upon his passing. And so her figuring out her tax strategy, right? What is her solution? Like, who's going to take care of her? And then you change the Social Security piece to it. And I just think that's something that truly has to go into plan for her. And I will say, we do have a lot of couples come in, and the man will say, my number one plan is to make sure that her lifestyle does not change. And that is what we absolutely try to go for.
I also say that the biggest unfortunate thing that we see with widows and widowers is trust.
Yeah.
And finding a group that they're comfortable with.
Yeah.
That both people are comfortable
and that
with.
they can trust.
Yes.
We've had people come in, unfortunately, that did just lose a spouse, and they say, look, I don't even know investing. We have this money here, but I don't know how it works.
Yep.
I don't know what the implications are if I touch it. I don't know. And I'm being told 1,000 different things. And it's an important aspect of, really finding a planner, really finding an advisor and a firm that cares about you.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's what makes us unique. Our firm and how we've built it, and our advisors, we take a vested interest in our clients and our prospects. You don't have to become a client of ours to get the same level of comfort and care and education.
Right.
But we want you to feel that it's a comforting space because you got enough to worry about.
Yes.
Right.
For sure.
You're mourning the loss of your loved one, or you're trying to protect your loved one from the unforeseen and from the unimaginable. You don't need to worry about, is the person that you're sitting down with, are they really out for your best interest?
Right.
Well, and I think to touch on that a little bit, a lot of people are confused as to whether they come into our office if we will help them do the estate plan side of things, but only if they're an investment client as well. And that is absolutely not how we work. If you only want to be an estate client of ours, that is absolutely okay. We do not require that you are an investment client as well. Of course, we would love to help you. We do believe it's a one-stop shop and all the plans should communicate, but that is not something that has to be done. And I feel like that's important to let them know.
Oh, I'm so glad you did that. And I love that folks have a married couple that they can come in and sit down with as married couples and say, okay, and get both of your perspectives. That diversification, the male-female perspective is so helpful, right?
Yeah, I do feel like that helps tremendously.
Yeah, I think it also gives comfort. Right? When widows come in and maybe they don't want to meet with me, then they have the opportunity to meet with Paige or one of the other advisors on our team, and I think that's an important aspect of bringing a solid group and a solid plan to the table, because we understand it's not a one-stop shop.
Absolutely,
right? And it's different for everybody. And look, we'll cry with our clients. We'll celebrate with our clients. It's just a part of life, but you need to have that person, that confidant, if you will.
Absolutely. Well, I know we have lots of folks watching. You might be married, you might be widowed, you might be divorced. Look, the team of Your Wealth Matters is here for you, and they would love to be able to help you in the form of a complimentary written financial plan. They will meet you where you are. This is for no cost, no charge, and no obligation. It's simply an invitation to have a conversation to see how they can help protect and serve you. But it starts with you picking up the phone and scheduling your time today, and you can do so by calling 844-411-3050. Or if you'd rather connect online, simply grab your smartphone. You can scan that QR code and that will get you connected as well. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to continue this important conversation on how you can protect your spouse from the widow's tax trap and so much more right after this.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination rain on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
Welcome back to Your Wealth Matters. I'm Kristen Oakley here with Ryan and Paige Cunningham from Your Wealth Advisors, and we are so glad you're spending this time with us today. If you're just tuning in, the title of today's episode is When Two Become One: How to Protect Your Spouse from the Widow's Tax Trap. And we want to dive a little more deeply now into how you can ensure before that day comes, how do you protect and maximize your income, your Social Security benefits, and minimize that tax burden for when that event happens. So let's, and I know this might be a little bit of a recap from some things we've touched on already, but what are the most common income changes after one spouse passes away?
Yeah, so when one spouse passes away, you typically lose the lower of the two Social Security payments. So then you'll take on the higher one, which sounds great, right? But again, you're losing income from there. Also, if the spouse who passed away had a pension and did not have a survivorship option on it, then you're also decreasing your income from there. And so you think of that, and then you've also moved to a single filing tax status, but then say you're at the RMD age, right? And you're having to take money out of a qualified account, and then that's pushing you up. So again, you're back into a tax issue.
Right.
Right, so
now you have less income. Less income. But a greater percentage of it is being taxed is the right way to think about it.
Right.
Yeah. And a lot of couples just have never thought through that.
I know.
Right. So how do you help couples when they come in to meet with you and you are building these written plans for them? Of course, an income plan is a huge piece of that.
Yes.
So how do you prepare through the income plan for the day that one spouse passes away?
Yeah, so, I think that income planning is a vital part of retirement planning. And putting together a joint income plan while you're both alive is crucial. But what it also does is it protects the survivor in the event that life happens and one of you go away. So we use things of guaranteed income streams, whether it's the use of an annuity or the use of a distribution plan, or we use Roth conversions to get it over and make it tax-free income for you. Or as Paige said earlier, if you had a pension, if we're lucky enough to get to you and work with you before you take your pension election, then we walk through what are the stages, what are the options that are available to you, right? Do you have any survivorship options? Is it going to be 75% or is it going to be half? And then how do you prepare for that, right? And a lot of those people and a lot of clients will come in and say, our number one goal is to ensure that we can maximize our retirement, but also to protect each other in the event that life happens.
Which leads us back to early planning, why early planning is so important.
And specifically with the Social Security conversation, because you touched on this is huge. Both spouses need to look and coordinate their claiming strategy because to your point, it might make sense for maybe the higher earning spouse to delay their benefit to max that out so that when one person passes away, that's the amount that remains, right?
Yeah, there's those tax strategies of using your different accounts, right, to maximize what's available to you. Right. I mean, and the law is pretty kind in Social Security where, once you hit your full retirement age, if you wait longer, they're giving you an 8% roll-up. Well, if you're not able to capture an 8% return on your other investments that you're going to be getting an income stream from, it may make sense to put together a Social Security income plan. Right.
Yeah.
So that's one of the many things that we have found has been a great tool to be able to provide to the prospects and our clients as they get ready for what's supposed to be the best time of your life.
Yep. Well, like we said, life happens, and unfortunately, statistics show that the average age of widowhood is now 59 years old. I know that it's shocking, right? A couple things going on with that. One is that sometimes, women are marrying men who are older, so there's that going on. But also, I've had several friends in my circle in my mid-40s lose spouses recently. Just none of us are promised tomorrow. But know if you fall into that category, just real quick with Social Security, survivor benefits could come into play, which you could turn on as early as age 60, right? Or age 50 if you're disabled. We could go down a whole rabbit hole with that. There's so much to know with Social Security. But again, this is why everyone's situation is different. They would really need to come in and sit down with you to see what made sense.
Yeah, like you said, there's so many options available, so many choices to be made, and just strategically planning in that is the best way to do it.
I do think it's important, though, to not eliminate those that are already in that situation. It's never too late. Right? We talk about pre-planning and we encourage pre-planning, but listen, not everybody does that. Right? And so if you're already in that situation and you're already a widow or a widower or whatever your situation is, we want you to know that it's not too late. You can still put a plan in place and still protect what you built all those years while you've still got the remainder of your life ahead. So it is important, and I do want to stress the fact that it's not just pre-planning that we do.
Just a reallocation of the way you have your assets aligned could be everything.
Well, and I think that's such an encouragement for folks who are watching who, that might be your situation. You might have already lost the love of your life and you're wondering, who can I turn to? Who can I trust? Who's going to have my best interests at heart? I can't think of two people more suited to meet that situation with care and compassion and kindness and knowledge and expertise that's needed.
We would love to be the people to help.
Wonderful.
I think I think that's the key. Right? Is we're more than just a financial advisory firm. We are a partnership in your retirement, in your life, and we are there to be there as your confidant, your shoulder to cry on, your person to excite. We had a client reach out to us recently when their son had a baby, and he sent us pictures as soon as the baby was born, or we get the text with the unfortunate news of a health diagnosis or even the passing, and it is comforting to know you have somebody that you can call, right? That's on your side, and that had an idea as to what your plan was going to be.
Right. Yeah. I know it's got to be one of the highest callings of your job and one of the biggest challenges, but the greatest blessing is that you're probably often the first phone call that your established clients make when something happens.
And I'm
you
grateful
take
for that because I
seriously.
would love to be able to help them in a situation like that. You know?
For sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, if this is something that you are needing, if you are realizing, you know what, I don't know who I would call when that day comes, or maybe you're already in that situation and you have been praying and asking for the right connection to help you through this season of your life, we're so glad you're here, and Ryan and Paige would love to be able to meet with you. It costs you nothing. So we encourage you to reach out and schedule your time to receive your complimentary written financial plan today. You can do so by calling 844-411-3050. Or again, if you'd rather connect online, simply scan that QR code and that will get you connected as well. We'll be back with more right after this.
The work never seems to end until the day it finally does. After nearly a lifetime on the job, you should be rewarded for all the time you spent working. Whether that's crossing off items on your bucket list, learning a new passion, or rekindling the love of an old one. After all, life isn't over when you stop working. It's the start of an all-new chapter. The one where you're the writer and you get to choose how your story will go. A way to achieve that is by having a clear financial plan to sustain your golden years. The biggest fear most retirees have is if they'll have enough money to maintain the lifestyle they've always enjoyed. Having a plan to help protect you against the curveballs life often throws will help to maintain your lifestyle. Call today to get your free written financial plan so you may live every day to the fullest and enjoy the retirement of your dreams.
Welcome back to Your Wealth Matters. We are so glad that you are here with us today. We've been having a very heartfelt conversation all around this concept of when two become one. What happens when one spouse passes away, and what can you do before that day comes to make sure that you are prepared and that you can help the surviving spouse avoid some of the common tax issues, tax traps, income loss, all the things that come with that on top of grieving, which again, we said this in a different show, which I thought was so powerful. When the plan is not in place, you rob someone of being able to properly grieve.
Yes.
So again, we said it's never too late, but obviously the sooner you get in front of all this, the better it is.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about health care and long-term care planning, because that can be a huge issue that can really wipe out someone's retirement savings, especially when they're left on their own. So how do you address that?
Yeah, you know, I think that long-term care, unfortunately, is the fastest depleter of wealth in America today. And when you come in as a couple, you typically say, well, in the event that my spouse needs care, I'm gonna take care of them as long as I can at home. But unfortunately, if you're a widower or single, you don't have that person at home, or you don't want to be a burden on your children.
Right.
Right? And so you need to make sure that you have a plan in place for that unforeseen, for that unknown. And look, the statistics, unfortunately, they're not on our side when it comes to long-term care. And so we encourage everybody that when you're putting a plan in place, a legacy plan in place, an income replacement plan in place, that it encompasses, includes, and at least opens the door of communication to, well, what's going to happen in the event that you need long-term care, right? Are you going to want to move in with your kids? Are your kids going to want you to move in with them? Do you want to go to a facility? How are you going to do that? What does that plan look like? How can you protect your assets from the cost of that? And it's just, you know, it's one of those things that it's not a fun conversation, right? And nobody thinks that they're going to, and everybody says, "Oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to need care."
Well,
unfortunately,
statistics show
Absolutely.
more and more of us are going to need it, and we are living longer than we ever have before. It has to be planned for. Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, we talked earlier about how you can meet someone if they're already in that situation, but we all know that the sooner someone starts, the easier it's going to be. Talk about, you know, for a couple who's watching right now going, well, maybe we need to sit down with someone and we need to look at all these pieces, and maybe you weren't aware of the widow's tax trap, and what can we do to get in front of this? Talk about the benefits of doing this sooner rather than later.
Yeah, the biggest benefit is you're taking the stress off of the other or both of you.
Right.
None of us know when our time is going to end. So if you can have a plan in place early, you at least know and have that comfort in knowing that, good Lord, in the event life happens, at least I know my spouse is got a plan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? And the good thing about a plan is that it's not set in stone.
Right.
Right? It's a plan that gives you that guiding path when life happens, and you need a reminder of, well, what am I supposed to do now?
Yeah.
And so putting a plan in place, the sooner, the better. But
Never too late.
I tell people all the time, it's never too late. Just because you didn't do it early enough, or just because you didn't do it when your spouse was alive, it doesn't mean that you can't
Right.
do it now.
Right now.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
Taxes are evolving.
Yep.
Social Security is evolving. Long-term care is becoming more and more prevalent, right? Income, inflation, you name it. There's a ton of things going against us.
Right.
Right? So that's really the benefit of putting a plan together. But that peace of mind, I can't tell you the importance. I mean, one of my longest clients back in 2008, after the 2008 crisis, when I first met her, she wouldn't even open her statements without just breaking down in tears. And we were able to help them and put together an income plan and a survivor's plan in the event that life has happened. And now, goodness, almost 20 years later, that plan that we put in place back in 2009 has proven to just give them that ability. And the one thing,
Right.
every time I see them, every single time I see her, she just thanks me for giving them that peace of mind.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, it's not me. Yes, I was the person that came up with some of the ideas,
Right.
but you implemented it. You chose to make that decision to
Right.
meet with someone. Luckily, it was me, and they're dear people, and the day will be a very sad day when something happens to them. But, it is a fun and comforting thing to hear when your
Yeah.
clients say to you, thank you.
Yeah.
And I think onto that, the wife was actually recently diagnosed with cancer. And so now they're able to just focus on her health and knowing that their finances are in order and they have everything set in a plan. So
Right.
that they can just focus on her and making the last of her life the best that it can be.
Yeah, no, I'm so grateful they found you all and that you were able to put that plan in place long before that day comes. So, so powerful. Well, again, as we wrap up today's show, I know you're excited to connect with more folks. I'm so grateful people have you as a resource. So thank you, Paige. Thank you, Ryan. Again, we know that this might feel overwhelming and this might be new to you to think about. It's not new to Ryan and Paige and the team of Your Wealth Advisors, and they would love to be able to help and serve you. You don't have to go it alone. So we encourage you to reach out today. 844-411-3050 is the number to call to schedule your complimentary written financial plan. Or again, you're welcome to scan that QR code as well. Be blessed. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time here on Your Wealth Matters.